to give the presentation of the Jackie Robinson Fortitude Award. DeWitt is the founder of the award. He created this in 2014, February 2014, and I was a proud recipient. And we've partnered to recognize people at First Fridays, where we recognize Tanya in the past.
Indeed. Woo!
Woo! She's a former recipient as well. And so we're very happy to tonight be recognizing the BBPA. So please welcome Mr. DeWitt to the stage.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's start that video a little bit. I want everyone to stand up. This is a very unique First Fridays experience. I mean, I don't know if you looked at the clock, but it's 11 o'clock. You haven't stepped, you haven't moved around, and we're moving people. Like, you know what I mean? It just benefits for us to get moving. So we're going to actually stand up for a second. You can say hi. You can make a little noise. You can check your phone. In the meanwhile, we're going to run a clip. It's about 1.5 minutes long. We may not even get to the end of it, but it just tells you and shows you a visual of what the last 5 years has been, grand finale style here at First Fridays. It's been an unbelievable journey for me. I mean, to be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with some of the greatest of the greats, some of who are in the room here tonight, has truly changed my lives and my life. And I know Warren as well. It changed First Fridays forever. So these are just some of the people here that we've honored. How you feel? Do we feel those? Because we're going to get right to it. Yeah, we feel good? Are we ready to have a seat? All right. You're welcome to have a seat. We can hit the lights and we can fade down this here. And I have to get right into it. Thank you. Thank you. So at the end of this video, you have seen a prompting which would allow me to include and inject the Black Business Professional Association, who we proudly bring into this illustrious group of really just change agents, heroes in here, and just people who have made tremendous impacts in this country, and especially for our culture. So what I want to do is I want to jump right into it, if I may, please. Canada has no doubt has a great history of Black-owned ventures that, as a result, this is the birthplace of great Black wealth. But we must remember that in this country we experienced a form of early existence that our brothers and sisters south of this border would or could never imagine existed. You have to understand the timeline. Canada wasn't just called the promised land for nothing. It's because we in fact had exactly what they were eventually promised, acres and mules, and we have more freedom to do something with them. If you want a visual of what I mean, consider the movie Django. Who's seen it? Yes. You remember when Django showed up on a plantation riding his own horse, speaking with some odd authority? Do you remember the faces and the attitudes of those who witnessed it? It's like they were looking at an alien. That's a bit of what must have happened here when our ancestors, who what I call liberation seekers, not runaways, from the U.S. through the Underground Railroad, arrived here in Canada. So during that time of our past, we had the Blackburns, who owned the first Black-owned cab company, which no doubt, you clap for that. I don't know if that was a clap or you dropped something, but this is a clapping kind of, that was a clapping moment. The Blackburns, who has, actually their home has been basically immortalized, that you can visit and learn more about your experience and walk in the footsteps of our great ancestors. So not only the first Black-owned cab company, which obviously created jobs for Black drivers, but what about when our people used their political muscle to get Mr. Jackson hired as the first Black postman? These, in my opinion, are all examples of economic development. That's businesses and professionals being part of the economic landscape. Speaking of our past, it's very fitting that the BBPA is receiving the Jackie Robinson Fortitude Award this month, because it was October 21st, 1982, when a Black businessman, Denham Jolly, who invited a number of people from our community to attend a meeting at the Underground Railroad. Who's been there? Yeah. Historical place. About 25 people attended. I mean, there's no real record of him actually paying for the food that night, but we do know today, if it happened, there's a good chance he would. I mean, he just paid a few $100,000 to pay the remaining of the JCA's mortgage. Please put your hands together for Mr. Denham Jolly, whose name is here in the Hall of Heroes, who was the one who called that meeting. of the minds that led to this brand, this business. Back on that historical day in October 1983, when they discussed creating the BBPA, it was originally introduced under a different name. It was suggested in the beginning to call it the Black Businessmen Association. But due to the presence, just like tonight, of some serious sisters that just wasn't having it, they countered with the name Black Business and Professional Association to reflect both its male and female members. And it was agreed upon to become the BBPA. In my view, that's a true sign of respect and wisdom by the part of our founding fathers and mothers of tonight's award recipient. And I would be completely remiss to not mention that the past two presidents have been two amazing and powerful black women. One who is here, the sitting president, Miss Nadine Spencer. Please give it up. Now, since their inception, they have consistently created opportunities for both black professionals and businesses. Black professionals, or I like to refer to them just as black people. These productive and powerful professionals are every day going out into a world growing and building businesses as executives or administrators in some capacity. And they're in every industry, breaking color, pay, gender, glass ceilings, while remaining most times the most undervalued and most heavily burdened in the company. But before we get into that deeper, let's address the business part of the BBPA. I'm sure we all agree businesses create opportunities. It stimulates the economy and solidifies legacies, both good and sometimes bad. But most importantly, there are things that are inheritable, things that can be transferred to next generations. Now, this is not a trick question. It's just a way to get you involved. How many people here are actually kind of like employees in some capacity? Don't be afraid. Not to cast judgment or make light of what you are, but how many of you can actually pass on that job? We simply can't. So that's why we have to encourage business ownership, and the BBPA is no question an incubator and just that. And ladies and gentlemen, is what makes the BBPA so vital is that it crosses over and addresses the professionals as well, and business owners equally. Those business professionals who are learning business operating systems, making connections and earning income while they learn the crafts and develop their gifts. These are professionals who have access to networks and opportunities, so when they're ready to step into the world of independence and become a business owner, they are ready. So in essence, the BBPA caters to those who are learning and those that are leaping. Honestly, when it comes down to stacking up the contributions of the BBPA, it's really about the intangibles that they provide in the area of economic development. So often we celebrate the business professional and recognize their success stories, the fruit of their labor, but not very often do we honor the root of their success. And many, many people owe this organization a debt of gratitude. The track record of people being impacted positively by the BBPA is undeniable. And just as that is true, it's also true that it sometimes goes unmeasurable. And with a clear concentration on our youth, they will be introducing a generation of new change agents that will lead our community commercially in the years to come. But one thing that is certainly quantifiable is its members and the leadership pool who are represented in the photos, which proudly are displayed in what I call the BBPA Hallway of Honor as you walk into this room. So from the BBPA's co-founders, today's foundation, which consists of a new board, I understand. Let's celebrate them. They're a group of seasoned professionals who have impacted the economical environment in Canada in some way or some fashion, and have created an ecosystem of mentoring and iron sharpening that has strengthened its leaders to think and
grow rich.
That's right. Just wanted to see what kind of crowd we had here tonight. I'm going to try another one. Let me see who's really in the building. God is good? And all the time? Okay, we got church folk here too. That's what's up. Now for the record, the Jackie Robinson Fortitude Award is not an award, or let's say medal, that you get when you cross the finish line. It's just us taking a moment to recognize people and organizations that have shown great fortitude in the midst of racially charged environments. Today we are honoring both the fruit and the root of the BBPA, and we want to pay respect to the visionaries who have paved the way for us all today. So, quick lesson. Who's been to the Harry Jerome Awards? Here. What would you say? What kind of experience is that for you?
Great.
Life-changing, right? Especially the younger you are, the more impact it has on you, because you've just never seen those kind of images. Well, the same year that the BBPA was founded, just so you know, they decided to create an award ceremony, and the late and great Olympian Harry Jerome was scheduled to be the keynote. He unfortunately passed away before he had an opportunity to do that. So what that group decided to do was to use that event as a way to honor him, and honor him they do. The event is something out of the dream. You know, the movies, tuxes and ballroom gowns, the works. First of all, just being there in attendance is an incredible honor. But when you add the list of who's who and who's receiving the awards, it takes Black excellence to a completely new level. And they manage to raise the bar every year. Put your hands together, please, for the BBPA's Harry Jerome Award.
It really is, and Warren, I want to thank you and do it for presenting the BBP and acknowledging us with this award. For 37 years, Denham Jolly, when he started 37 years ago, he had a vision that there would be an organization that exists to empower and enable opportunities for Black businesses, because he recognized, and the group of individuals, and it was Kamala Jean Gopi that said it should be the Black Business and Professionals, not Businessmen Association, recognized that in order to enable economic opportunity for Black people, people that look like me and you, we needed an organization like the BBPA with a strong foundation that would do this. And so 37 years later, we are strong, we're striving, and we are really serving our purpose. There's so much that's happening. It's really very exciting to see, because businesses come and go and organizations come and go, but you know, the BBPA is here, we're standing, and we're still very, very strong. And there's a lot happening. We just had an AGM last week where I was elected to serve a second term. And there are, we have another 6 board members that's joining us, and we've also established chapters across Canada. One of our partners is the Halifax Black Business Initiative, Rustam Southroad. He's one of the first directors at large. And we recognize that the only way we're going to advance and grow is to collaborate. You know, in Harry Jerome's book, there's a quote by Roman Pitt, and it says, "It's a myth that Black people can't work together. And it's a myth and it's a lie. And it's a lie that we shouldn't buy into." Because the very fact that this organization has been around for 37 years, it shows the strength of our community, and that we, Black business and Black professionals, can work together. And there's more that we plan to do. So I'm an entrepreneur, and I remember starting when I was in business, I had a plan for myself. I would never eat unless I made a sale. That was my thing. I was very, very thin. But as I grew day by day, literally, because you know, as the business grew, then I could eat, and then I grew as well. But I learned all the nuances and all the things that makes an entrepreneur successful. I say to myself, I've got 3 challenges. I'm a woman, I'm Black, and I'm a Black woman. And each of those things are very different. There's different challenges with each and every one of them. However, over the years, I've learned with different mentors, etc., how to take each of those things, woman, Black woman, and make it my strength. And as a businesswoman, leading this organization through the trials and tribulations, and Eldon and I were talking today about this book called The E-Myth and what it is to really be an entrepreneur and lead to success. All those skills that I bring to the table over, well, I won't say my age, but that is what we bring to the BBP to bring economic advancement to the Black community. So as we grow,